Not going to quite do it yet. Am I good? All right. Going to call the Butler Community College Board of Trustees regular meeting this evening, Tuesday, November 9th at 4:30 p.m. here in the Anchor boardroom. We will start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move on to the approval of the agenda, and I know there's at least one. Doug, if you don't mind.
We need to add Lynn Holtz's retirement to the agenda, please.
We have two items also.
And there's a letter on that, so we'll go ahead and vote on the, or is there a second? Moved and seconded to add Lynn's retirement, except to the action items.
Trustee Good?
Yes, there's no microphone.
You're here.
Newfangled, it's newfangled.
Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Howell?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes,
The motion passes to add Lynn.
we had two items. The first one is to move that item 11A1, October board minutes, be moved to board action items.
Second.
There's just a couple errors on there. And I'd like to make a comment.
Well, okay, go ahead and name the errors. I know.
We'll state your motion again.
To move that item 11A1, October board minutes, be moved to board action items. This section 10.
Is there a second?
Second.
We'll go ahead and call the roll on the approval of approving the minutes.
Trustee Good?
Excuse me just a minute. It's 11A, you said?
Yeah, just the minutes from last month.
Okay.
It's in the
We
consent
could
agenda.
entertain discussion to see what's up. Discussion to see what's up. I don't know how to vote. I don't know what he wants.
Well, there's two errors in the minutes, so I don't think we want to approve them. Generally, we're not allowed to discuss it much right now, but I can discuss it right now. It's page 30. I can go over it real quick. Or there's the number is wrong on the lease. It says per month instead of per year,
What page?
39. Then there's an option to purchase after initial term, which is not technically correct. On page 48, we have to go through this now?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, that's just a couple
Just a general
statistical wrong
editorial.
entries, yeah.
Like the right, and then the other.
I had two things.
Vote on this one first, what's going to make them together.
Trustee Good?
Yes.
Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Howell? Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion to move item 11A1 to the board action items for this one.
And I just had one other item. I mentioned it in October, no, second meeting in September, our special meeting. I'd like to add an item to section 10, the board action items. Will request that the board of trustees take a vote regarding our position on the vaccine mandate. We talked a lot about our policy, but I would like to take a vote on the policy, just have it on the record. What are we voting on? We don't have a policy. Well, I would move then the position of BCC trustees that we do not support vaccine mandates for employees or students. We will allow religious and medical exemptions. Would be my motion.
Second that.
We've had a fair amount of discussion in regards to that. And we've got the vaccination policy for the program and so forth. There is no vaccine
Before it said
requirement
there
for the
wasn't.
college. That would be my
I would,
policy.
we just want to state it on the record that it's the trustees' policy. I mean, in that meeting, we said at 34 minutes, 43 seconds in, we are going to grant student exemptions. 3524, Caleb will work with these students. 4120,
So, yeah, I think we know what the intent is to get it moved on there for the question. We can go ahead and vote on whether we want to move that on as an action item.
Trustee Good?
No.
Trustee Law?
No.
Trustee Rhodes?
No.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
No.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Howell. Trustee Smith.
That's all I'm asking for is a vote.
The motion to add, those vaccines to the agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I had another. I would really like the minutes to be,
If you have a motion. to amend
okay,
it,
I would motion that the minutes be carefully looked at by someone. There's just too many things missing from the minutes, and they were incorrect this time, I agree with Jeff. But there just needs to be, the secretary needs to be signing off on them or something, because.
Do you have a motion?
Yes,
to
my
amend the
motion is they
agenda?
need to be approved by the secretary. So you need to be approved by the secretary of the board. It needs to be his responsibility or her responsibility to make sure the minutes are approved.
So you're moving, to put that on as an action.
Yes.
item. Is there a second?
This is part of the secretary's job.
Yes. Because they do approve them. They're officially approved by the secretary anyway, before they're ever posted. They're official.
That's policy.
Sign them and
I'll
approve
second.
before they're official minutes. I don't ever see that. They're posted to the website once they're signed and approved.
After the vote today, I would have signed, well, this time was for, now, I would have signed off on them after, but I couldn't do that. Or the secretary can't do that until the board approves the minutes. Then the secretary signs off on it.
There's no
that's
pre-approval of the
what-
minutes before they come
Pre-approval
in.
is what you're saying. Oh, I think the pre-approval should be done by the secretary. I guess that would be my motion.
But I think that's what this is about, being sure we get them correct before they're signed off.
You're the secretary. Of course, yours is the secretary.
So there's already a check and balance in place, in my opinion.
It's the secretary.
Nobody's gonna sign off on it until we agree that they're correct.
I'd
Like
rather
just
do
what's
this at a,
happening
I'd rather do this at a work
Found an
session
issue
or
with
something.
this, You're gonna move to amend, you're gonna make comments that they could be amended before they're.
Right. I'd rather talk about this.
At a work session.
Is there a second?
Shelby, do you want to second
Motion
that?
dies for lack of a second. So we move on now to approve the agenda as amended with
So
the
moved.
retirement of Lynn as well as moving on. Item out of the consent agenda. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Is there discussion?
Not on the, we just, all we're doing is approving the agenda
Okay.
as amended.
Trustee Good.
Yes.
Trustee Law.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Winslow. Trustee Howell. Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda passes. I would now entertain a motion to move into an executive session. For trustee to make it, the motion is.
Here I move the board recess into executive session for two purposes. One, to consult with our attorney for advice on important matters to include members of the board, Ray Canal, President Kroll, Dr. Neville, Guerrero, and Jim Ettinger. And the second, I assume, will come out of the first and then go back into the second.
We're gonna have to have different people, so we can, I think we can, or we can,
The way this is
Because-
written, it sounds like
because the-
one,
because the motion
We
includes
just-
both,
Yeah.
because the motion includes both, we can just roll over, we can just
Possible.
excuse the first group of people and then bring it second.
And the second purpose would be to discuss employer-employee negotiations to include members of the board, President Kroll, Ray Canal, ranking officer Sperry, Shelley Stoltz, and Williams. Further percent of the open exceptions for matters affected by attorney-client privilege and employer-employee negotiations. Fine discussions, was not to be not to exceed 60 minutes.
Second. Been moved and seconded to move into executive session.
Trustee Good.
Yes.
Trustee Law.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Winslow. Trustee Howell. Trustee Smith.
yes.
We'll make sure we note in the minutes what time, what time people exit. and what other people exit.
We move into the executive session. Here we live. I would entertain a motion to go back to the executive session.
It'd be easier to.
There's about 50. You guys say, I need a motion on how long. we
No pressure.
Move that we enter executive session for 20 more minutes. Delete.
Second.
Delete it, 6:04.
Move the second and move into executive session for 20 minutes.
Trustee Good.
Yes.
Trustee Long.
Trustee Law.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Lefferts.
Yes.
Trustee Winslow. Trustee Howell. Trustee Smith.
Yes. Purpose field, purpose field, we haven't started yet.
I gotta get it to site first.
Yes. I can't believe you did that.
Meeting, you know.
And I was straight that one. Straight it up right now. Will. Yeah.
I got it now.
I'm sending her a text. I did too. I'm still in there. She's staying.
Okay, remember.
We're gonna go ahead and keep moving on with the recognitions. Oh, turn that over to you.
Yeah, volleyball. And I knew they, I know.
Remember, warm bodies.
Come on in. Come on. Come on
Come
in.
in and squash in wherever you need to. Join us
Carly,
on
come on. Come back here. Come on. Good job, girls.
I think it just
Love
puts out the
watching
temperature of the
that.
air because it was all the way
We
down.
don't play
It
for-
feels a little bit
No,
warmer.
just a little.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
all
still
right,
cold.
great, good, good.
Well, you missed out being at home. Yeah. That's that temperature. Good golly.
Oh, my gosh.
Look him down there.
Tucker, you guys over here. I'll run that. That way we'll Frank Creel.
Move on over, come on.
Squish in there.
Let's start.
There's Tessa.
Oh, there she is. Okay, who is here? No. Hey. Okay, thank you guys for being patient and waiting on all of us to get to this point in the agenda. I want to first recognize our women's volleyball 2021 Kansas Jayhawk Conference champions and the Region 6 champions. So, in college history for either one of those honors. So this is really, really exciting. And I want, when I say your names, ladies, raise your hands so we know who you are, okay? Macy Adams, Rainey Avon, Jaron Benning, Carly Clennon, Haley Duncan, Ivy Fink, Malia Glass, Sydney Lentz, Sydney Morrow, Vanya Perzulli, Caitlin, did I say that right? Caitlin Rexroth, Carrie Rowe, Macy Shaver, Chrissy Winkler, Riley Winkler, and manager Ellie Coleman, manager Michaela Inman, manager Jansen Shamahorn. Okay, and then coaches, Lisa Lechtenberg and Tessa Cosby. And team went 69 in conference and was named, obviously, the 2021 Kansas Jayhawk Conference champions for the first time in college history. This also allowed them to host the regional tournament. So we have these great home games on our home court. During the season, 2 student athletes were named to the Hutchinson All Tournament, with 1 student athlete being named most valuable player. Raise your hand. So okay, good deal. Yep. There have been 7 Butler student athletes who received KJCCC Player of the Week awards, with multiple student athletes receiving this award more than once. Right? Raise your hands. Be proud. We also had 2 NJCAA Players of the Week awards and 1 American Volleyball Coaches Association Player of the Week award. So Carly was one of them. And yes, exactly. So we selected her as an award the KJCCC Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year as well.
Give her a big hug.
Past weekend, the team continued their incredible season, improving their record to 35-2. You lost your first 2 games in the first 2 weeks, is that right? Early in the season.
First match this season.
That's right. Yeah. So they improved their record this past weekend to win the first ever Region 6 conference title. They're ranked number 3 in the nation and will advance to the NJCAA tournament held in Hutchinson November 18th to the 20th. So everybody's invited. We need a huge Butler following to be there in Hutch. So
We'll be there.
ladies, congratulations. You are wonderful representatives of Butler. We're excited for you. Coaches, you're great leaders and mentors for these young women. So thank you for everything. Okay, great job. All right, soccer team, women's soccer team, and Anna really wants to. So, women's soccer team were also the 2021 Kansas Jayhawk Conference champions, and also the Region 6. Final game against Cali. Tied 2-2 with 2 overtimes, right? And you guys won on penalty kicks because the Cali person that was doing their final penalty kick, our goalie went one direction and she kicked the other way, but it hit the goal post and bounced off.
Yeah.
Okay.
What matters is you won.
So, okay, raise your hands. Natalie Amaya. Grace Parker Roberts. Maddie Bowman. Ashton Conley. Morgan Fisher. Kenzie Godwin. Corinne Hackney. Josie Pallier. Ashley Hernandez. Morgan Houston. Brooklyn Hunter. Kira Klump. Marissa, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Where was I? Marissa Lamas. Madison Loyal. Ellie McDonald. Kim McAlpin. Laren Murray. Joey Nabini. Sharon Nabini. Brianna Rhea. Naili Reveas. Is that right? I'm sorry. Yep. Carson Soto. Gabby Staley. Yossi Villagrana. Ilana Bailey Williams. Megan Wing Sutton. And coaches Adam Hunter, Travis Stipp, and Junior Galvin. Right? Butler Amazing Soccer Team went 12-1 in conference and won the 12th Kansas Jayhawk Conference Championship and the 9th Region 6 championship for our Butler ladies and coaches. Amazing. So 5 Butler student athletes have received KJCC Player of the Week awards. Raise your hands. Wonderful. One player receiving the award more than once and 3 NJCAA Player of the Week awards. So raise your NJCAA. Impressive season beat Cali this past weekend in a nail biter overtime with penalty kicks to improve their record to 16-4-2, and obviously win the 9th Region 6 championship title. They're ranked 11th in the nation, and they will advance to the NJCAA tournament held in Daytona, Florida, November 15th.
Wow.
Again, you can see phenomenal coaching, leadership, and mentorship with Adam and Travis and Galvin, our junior, and amazing student athletes. Your skill level is phenomenal, but soccer players and volleyball players, both you guys are also great students in the classroom, and it's just so exciting and so proud to be able to have you represent Butler. Locally, regionally, and now nationally. So great job, ladies. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry, your name wasn't on my list, and I'm not sure what it is.
Who was the goalie for the
Adam's
last
fault.
hit? Wow. And which girl almost died underneath all the trampoline?
That was Kyra.
I saw you trying to struggle out there. Oh, gosh.
Thank you, guys. I know you have busy schedules and other things to do, but thanks for being here. We're really glad. Okay.
You forgot to introduce that little girl there in the pink dress.
Just cheer everybody.
Oh, congrats, girls. Oh, thank you very much. Good one up, guys. You think you should have a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I knew you were looking on me.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Treasure said, "You know, hear my name."
Mary Martha's gonna want a hug from all of you.
Okay, we gotta keep going. Good job, guys. We'll see you in touch.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We also want to recognize, we also want to recognize Kelly Cruz and Rodney Dimmick from Public Relations and Marketing. Each year, the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations Awards has medallion awards that they give. Recognize outstanding achievement in design and communication in each of their 7 districts, and it's exclusive to marketing and public relations professionals at 2-year colleges. As members, we're part of District 5, but Butler competes in the medallion awards with colleges from Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Canadian province of Manitoba, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. And so this year, Butler's marketing employees were recognized with the following awards. Kelly Cruz and Rodney Dimick received a silver award for the View Book. We got, where's Rodney? There's Rodney. Is Kelly Cruz here? Okay. So I'm gonna give these to you. Okay. So, silver award for the View Book. Kelly received a bronze award for poster, and Rodney received a bronze award for original photography in the category of manipulated photography. Whatever that means. Is that like?
I don't think we want to know what that means.
Edited. Well, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank the college for placement
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
You guys do great work. And then certainly not, even though it's listed at the end, last but certainly not least, we want to recognize the folks that sent in information about for the employee honor roll of employee veterans. And I know we've got a few people here tonight, but I want to take just a minute to name off. And recognize your service and say thank you. Richard Arthur has 8 years of service. Troy Carson, 4 years. Sheldon Christensen, 1 year. Walter Clayton, 22 years. Greg Cole, who's here, 25 years in the U.S. Army. And Greg, thank you. John Cox, 5 years. Scott Dunbar, 12 years. Chris Estes, 4 years. Bill Flynn, 24 years. Daniel Gorman, 33 years. Shelley Gutierrez, 4 years. Anatole Haide, 26 years. Terry Ireland, 6 years. Cheryl Sage, 4 years. Forrest Rhodes, 6 years. Thank you, Forrest. Stanley Seymour, 4 years. Nathan Swink, 4 years. Thank you, Nathan. U.S. Marine Corps, Nathan's a Marine, of course, with U.S. Navy and Navy Reserves. Add that, I apologize. Mac Thompson, 4 years. Alex Thorpe, 20 years. Lynn Unholz, I don't see Lynn, 4 years in the Navy. John Warren, 6 years. Randy Whiteley, 17 years. Kent Williams, 4 years in the Navy. Thank you, Kent. Lori Winningham, 4 years. This is, so just on this list, a total of 451 years of service. This is a voluntary opportunity for people to submit this information. We know that there are a lot more employees and certainly students that have served our country really proudly. And even though they're not recognized on this list, we certainly want to make sure that we say thank you to all veterans, whether they're Butler employees or Butler students, and that we appreciate the commitment and the sacrifice that you've made to take good care of our country and give us the service that we have. So thank you for your service.
No, it's not appropriate.
No, this is not appropriate.
I also want to invite
Hit it like a Marine. There you
I
go.
want to invite the board and the folks that are sitting in the room to have a Veterans Day ceremony celebration on November 11th from 11 to 11:30 a.m. In Andover in the Student Union foyer entrance. And so join us if you can for that celebration. There'll be light refreshments afterwards, but it's an opportunity to honor the veterans, faculty and staff. November 11th this week. at 11 a.m. at Five House School.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you, Paul, for your service as well. We're going to move on to the public comments. For the agenda, I believe there's two. I'm going to first read the process for the public comment. The general public is welcome to address the Board of Trustees under public comment section of the regular board agenda. Personal issues are prohibited from public comment. Board chairperson will ask visitors wishing to make brief comments to identify themselves and the topic they are wishing to address. If several members of one group or organization wish to speak to the board concerning the same item, the board chairperson may ask the group to identify a single spokesperson. The time limit of 5 minutes has been set for each recognized member or spokesperson of the audience to speak to the board. The board will take no action during the public comment period of the board meetings. However, it will take matter under deliberation and, if appropriate, direct the president to follow up with a written response and a report to the next regular board meeting. So the first public comment request was from Bradley Peachy. I believe so. Brad is here. Is he on Zoom? Okay. Then the other is Trustee Winslow.
Right there. Right behind you. Oh. You know, I had this really nice paper that I drafted. I read it myself and I wanted to make sure I put on my stopwatch. I don't want to overdo it, but no, I kind of thought it over and I think I'm gonna do it. My name is Julie Winslow. I am an elected BCC trustee. I am speaking for myself. The board majority voted some time ago to change the board bylaws so we can utilize our politicians. For that reason, I'm going to tell you right now and what my personal phone number is. But one of the things I want to say is that I think I would like to see this coming year. The board to unite a little bit closer. And one of the things I would like to see is for the board to have a public session on a schedule of both core and community. Even though you may not agree with me, what's important is that we move on. And this is really important for me. We have to move on in the board. We have to stop fighting. The election thing is over. And I don't want to see any more board members pitted against each other, especially in the public. Instead, I'd really like to use our platform as board members tonight. I guess in the common cause in trying to improve the involvement that we have in improving our student retention. Each department has got to be fiscally responsible for themselves, and also their continuing fiscal has to be based on student development. Now, there are some departments that I look at. I think they have great templates. So those that are profiting, those that are holding their own, maybe we should pass those things on. Hey, you know what? Maybe we should do that. Maybe you need to talk to them. As a trustee, I would really like to attend things like president's meeting. I did ask to go to that as an observer, but reason says that after all, ACCT isn't I kind of would like to observe. I guess instill trustee. Say, hey, several months ago, we approved these are our annual audits. Delve into isolated areas of classroom studies, and then months later, they called to the solution sites. They had made a decision not to meet. That is exactly how the board of trustees do. As a trustee, I say, hey, can we vote on whether or not the nurses actually have to be vaccinated? Right now, operate like other
much debate. I understand that, but I still would like to. Trustee, as a trustee, I want the administration to concentrate not on how to belittle or target other board members or even administration, but to improve the college community. All of those departments that are doing such great success, they should be heralded for their efforts. Their team should be spread out. Let those that are succeeding move Butler towards a brighter and better future. And about that, good old fiasco work with the trustee. I really like to know as a trustee.
Trustee, you got one minute.
And that was embarrassing for me not to know anything about that. And when somebody as important as the HR manager or the police chief and safety officer, suddenly, I'd like to know what happened. It's embarrassing, we don't know, find out later. I mean, after all, we are elected trustees. This is our leadership. My personal phone number is 316-390-99. Personal email address is winslow@gmail.com.
We'll move on to the standing reports.
Yeah.
Here we are.
You might try to speak that way. The mic, yeah, the microphone is right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right here.
Take the podium down.
You don't want to hear me, so you jump.
Good evening, I'm Sophia Dawson, I'm the Vice President of the City Government Association. I'm standing in for Guadalupe tonight. So I had just a quick report of what we have done over the past 2 weeks. As you know, we have celebrated homecoming and we've been here since then. So that was very successful. Even with the chilly weather, our fall or homecoming bash went really well Thursday night before homecoming. Then Friday night, we had a late night donut event, and we had donuts from Russell's Donuts on Central, and he was very generous to us. He and his wife, and just really appreciate them and their local business for this here. That event went over very well, and then the week of Halloween, we hosted a fall movie night in this government office room. And we showed The Sixth Sense and movie Hereditary. And that event lasted till midnight, so it's supposed to stick around and hang out. So that was really wonderful. So candy, hot cider, hot chocolate, popcorn, and other snacks. We had a few pumpkins to paint and canvases to paint for all the students. And we transformed the office into a spooky night. So that was kind of fun. So that's what we've been up to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lisa, the operational staff report.
Evening. I am Lisa Boland and I am the president of our operations staff. 18 months as a president. This is the first time I've met you all face to face.
Yeah.
So it is a pleasure to meet all of you. We are currently in the middle of our Thanksgiving pie sale fundraiser. Our sale began on November 1st and it will continue through next Tuesday, November 16th. These delectable desserts can be ordered through me or through Butler's online sales platform, Marketplace. This year, we have several volunteer bakers lending their pastry skills to assist us in apple, cherry, pecan, and pumpkin pies, as well as pumpkin rolls. All the proceeds from our fundraising efforts go towards the Book Scholarship Fund, costs of welcome back to school, hosting families in need at Christmas, and other charitable giving opportunities. Our next operational staff meeting will be this Thursday, November 11th.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And professional employees, Dr. Saban.
Good evening. It has been my honor over these past many years to come before you every week to report on the extraordinary quality and dedication of Butler Community College faculty and advisors who guide and help us reach our goals. Tonight I am privileged to be able to share with you this statement. I had a different expectation. I had two professors from WSU, and Superior High School. They didn't really care about what was going on. This day, sections. However, at Butler, all of the teachers showed understanding that life isn't always easy. That's something that I love. I hope you're not surprised by this. Should have. I think I'm truly fortunate. That's true. That is reflecting that dedication. I was doing when we were doing that lecture. So my problems. However, that dedication is so feels so blessed. Doing the lecture. Truly dedicated. The other side of that sword is unstable dedication. Changing, growing, inspiration. So, one of the right change. One year.
Dr. Sater, board finance, I don't believe that today.
That's what we want.
Foundation board. Dr. Kroll.
We will in January welcome Kim Bruntard, Linda Jolly, and Dave Shearer. Dave's here tonight. And so the newest folks that will join the board of trustees. Linda had intended to join tonight and had something change at the last minute, so she wasn't able to be here. Visit with Kim on the phone, had a good conversation with Kim this past, I guess this is Tuesday, so it was last week, talked to Kim. And so Lance and Jim and Doug will do a formal thank you before you leave board. So we'll tell you thank you for your service. Share some accomplishments that have happened. So we appreciate that. We'll formalize that as we go forward. Wanted to give you an update that the 9100, I think I told you last month, the 9100 building, December 3rd is the sealed bid due date. You can pass those, the signs are up. Marketing is out. Talked to John a couple of different times, John Rupp a couple of different times, and they're already getting inquiries on the property and who's sharing information. I just had a couple of folks that, or one, I know for sure, but I think more than one that have scheduled visits to go look at the building. And so some interest in the building that we, at this point in time, early on, is pleased with. Sure. Have an elevation certificate. I had that question John asked me about that. I know he was contacted by Mark McCollum about that. And I emailed Lynn in Ireland, and there's a 2018 study from Ireland, you'll have to help me, that identified that property is not in the floodplain. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. I want to give you a little bit of an update or tell you a couple of different things. This past weekend, we hosted the 1970 national champion cross country team in a really nice celebration. 51 years ago, they won that national championship. And it was high time that the college recognized that. Not quite sure how how that slipped through the cracks 5 decades ago, but brought that team of men and their families back to campus. Matt Jacobs, the Jacobs Excellence and Athletic Fund helped support that, the purchase of their national championship rings. They had never received championship rings before. And so really, really exciting. So Matt, thank you for that. Haley Hobbs and Avery Nelson and the foundation really orchestrated that whole event and made sure that those folks were invited back. The entire team was back except for 2 members that they just haven't been able to locate. And then if you know Ollie Isom was the coach. He's deceased at this point in time, but Mark Isom, his son, was there to share in the celebration. And so Friday night, fun bonfire out at Jim and Joanne Hayes' house that some of us, that they were able to attend, and Haley and Avery and I attended. So lots of stories, lots of fun. Some of those folks have not seen each other for 50 years. So it was really a great celebration. And then Saturday, a lot of their family was here. So we had a nice social and presented their rings and had a nice dinner to celebrate with them. So that was really fun. I visited this afternoon. Senator Marshall's staff was in this afternoon. They're moving their way across the state, visiting with community and technical college presidents and folks in workforce. And so I had a really nice conversation with 2 of his staffers to talk about Pell Grant opportunities, and certainly the position that the Community College Association is taking is that we would like to see the amount of the Pell Grant increased. That is an opportunity to really help the neediest, the financially neediest students gain access to a college education. So we talked about that. We talked a little bit about the free college proposal and the better benefit that would be derived through increasing the Pell Grant rather than the free college. And the free college thing is kind of off the table right now, but that doesn't mean that it won't continue to be discussed. We talked about workforce and training needs and the proposed Jobs Act that's being discussed right now in Congress at the congressional level. And then had a great conversation about, they wanted to know, some of the things that we've learned from living through COVID and what kind of technology things have changed and what we were going to use from a teaching perspective as we move forward. So we had a really good conversation. They were headed off to Topeka tomorrow to meet with some other folks and be in the Capitol and do some things like that. So, and I also wanted to give you a football update. I did inform the board when I had information about it, when we had a final decision from the Jayhawk Conference Commissioner about the impact of that situation. It's important for the board to know that this situation was recruiting and bringing an ineligible student onto a team into Butler was never intentional. It was never the intent to deceive or deliberately break any rules. That's not how we operate. I can tell you that I asked when this has happened before, and in our 35 years, we have had one other situation. Bill, remind me,
2006.
6 and 7, we had a women's basketball player that was a 4.0 student, a 3rd-year student that went ahead and dropped the class.
She was dropped.
Or she would, I'm sorry, she was dropped from a class for non-attendance by a faculty member. We didn't have a process in place at that time to catch it quickly enough. And because she dropped that class and dropped it below the right number of credit hours, she became ineligible. And didn't realize it until after she had played a couple of extra games. And so in our history, that's the only time that that's happened beyond this. So this was certainly, and we take complete responsibility for it. This is our fault that this has happened, but it was a series of miscommunications and misunderstanding and miscommunication of information on the student's redshirt status. The information that was interpreted was that the student had a redshirt year because the stats indicated that he had played in only 4 games. His red shirt would have been available But that was because he didn't use the red shirt in his first 2 seasons at Rutgers. And we didn't dig deep enough into that information to ferret that out. And even though a student's eligibility process goes through multiple layers, through the coaches as they recruit, through the coaches that, talk about whether that student needs to be brought in to play, through the athletic department, the assistant AD, AD, vice president. I mean, there's different steps that people do all the way along with signing letters of intent and registrar, looking at transcripts to see if they have the right number of classes and credit hours and grade point averages, all of those kinds of things. There are a lot of steps that we go through, but it was missed. The NJ, and as soon as we knew it, Todd, athletic department, Todd Carter, self-reported it to the NJCAA and said, we have just discovered this. The NJCAA's decision was that all of the games that this player played in had to be forfeited. And then at the conference level, the KJCCC, the conference level, then there were also consequences. The executive committee of the conference, that executive committee got together. I was part of the conversation. Todd was part of the conversation. Wednesday morning, I believe it was. We talked about the situation. Talked about how we thought things had happened and what the consequences were of that, and they excused Todd and me then from the meeting. And Marlon Thornburg, who was part of that executive committee, but he's the president of Coffeyville, because Butler was slated to play Coffeyville in a football game last weekend. Marlon was excused from that meeting as well, and not part of the decision that the executive committee made. But the executive committee made the decision because of past practice and because of guidelines in the bylaws that they allowed Butler to participate in postseason play. They didn't eliminate us from that. But one of the other consequences was that our head coach was suspended for 3 games. We've gone through already. I asked Bill and TC and Tyler, the assistant director, and coaches to review the process and identify what we need to do differently so that it doesn't happen again. And the process changes will be that the AD and the assistant AD will check details on all transfer students very thoroughly. Not only use the information that they can gain from websites, but they'll use social media. They will contact prior schools and partner schools to gain as much information as they can. We will implement and collect a tracking form from the 4-year institutions. Some community colleges, we've tried to use those in the past, but there's no NJCAA requirement that the 4-year institutions send those back or fill them out. And so it sometimes can be a difficult process to get that information from the 4-year institutions. But that may be moving forward a requirement that the Jayhawk Conference puts in place for all of the colleges. And so we've already put some processes in place to change this. And again, there was an error on our part. We take ownership for that. And we've made some changes to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I know at the conference level, it will be discussed more thoroughly. And there'll be some conference conversation about as a conference, what we do to mitigate this. We aren't the only college that's been in this situation before. I can tell you that every one of the presidents that I talked to and that I contacted directly said, you know what, we all make mistakes and we've all been in this situation before. So I wanted to give you that update and let you know that we're working through it. Butler did beat Coffeyville last weekend in a pretty resounding game and move on to play next weekend
At Garden City.
at Garden City. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cole. Any questions, Dr. Cole, before we move on? If not, we will move on to the education facilities. report.
Yeah.
I will say that, we are working there's a small committee that's working, on, renewing the skybox leases and doing getting that, because those skybox leases and some of those, things expire at the end of this coming spring, so we're in the process of working on the skybox leases and spring donations for turf updates and stuff like that. It has 3 years. They were 10 years. Oh, wow, that's a long. That's how long it's taken.
They were the original. So we'll move on to the monitoring report, Division of Advancement. I don't believe Tom is here, so you're gonna.
Yeah, he's not here. I'm just gonna hit a couple of highlights real quickly. You can read through this and see the work that they're doing. I do want to point out that the foundation has welcomed Jennifer Green Miracle as the new Director of Community Advancement. You'll remember that Mary Moon retired this summer. Jennifer comes with an extensive working background from the Wichita area. She was really involved in the Wichita Festival. She's held positions with the American Red Cross and the International Pizza Hut Franchise Holders Association. So she's really, really connected and really well known in this entire South Central region. So we're really excited to work with her, and she's already kind of hit the ground running. She's already working on the auction that will be held in March. You can go down through there and see the scholarships, the major scholarship opportunities or scholarship awards that we've given this past year. One of the things that's not in here, and I think it's just an oversight, it's important to know, for the board to know, that the foundation over the last couple of years, each year, has given more than $750,000 in foundation scholarships to our students. And that's not part of the report, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. That's outside of any other scholarships that students are given, but that's a pretty phenomenal amount of money. They've added some new board of directors members, and you can see on page 6 the current directors. The Butler benefit auction is being planned right now. You can see the history over the last couple of years of the auction results, and even in 2021, when it was 100% virtual, we still raised more than $100,000. And one of the things that they learned from the auction last year was that virtual component for people to be able to bid on the silent auction items, that virtual component for bidding will remain in place this year because we were able to engage more people, and it was fun, for them to be part of it. The live auction will still be in person, so we're looking forward to that. Corporate sponsorship hasn't really been very impacted because of COVID. You can see we have tremendous support. Part of the other, some of the other things that the Advanced Division oversees, they support Advanced Kansas, which is an initiative that's been in place for probably 14 or 15 years that Butler's been involved in. That's a diversity leadership training opportunity that's facilitated by Juan Johnson. We've got great partnerships with Spirit, Evergy, Ameritrust, and Envision. They provide the funding to support Advanced Kansas. Life Enrichment is a great program that engages seniors or anybody, I guess, actually, to come onto campus for educational and cultural programming. And you can see over the years the increase in participation and membership. We also host the Butler County Spelling Bee, which is really fun. And then the Advancement Decision oversees Kelly and her team in college relations and marketing. And so they're a big piece of the both internal and external advancement of college. So those are just some highlights right now. And you can read more about Kelly. Kelly's team, besides the actual Butler employees, Kelly also employs some student workers that are a big part of her college relations and marketing team. That's what I have to report in place of Tom. I hope from Tom's perspective that'll be okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You're
Dr.
welcome.
We'll move on to the Division of Online High School.
Well, I'm gonna try to be brief here as well for sake of time, but, and you've got the written documentation, but I'm just gonna walk through some highlights over the last year for our division. Online, obviously, implemented a new syllabus tool this semester, so onboarded it over the summer. It was very quick turnaround. And with the training faculty, on that tool. We've added 3 new programs to our full online availability. So that brings our total to 36 programs. That includes certificates as well. And then we just recently worked with Adobe to integrate Adobe Creative in their courses. At McConnell in the Service Center, COVID protocols remain pretty strict there, still a mask mandate and things like that. So despite that, we were able to increase enrollment a little bit. Service Center continues to be a significant source of revenue for us through the enrollment that's done at that location. And one thing that's been beneficial for us is there's a welcome class for new military and their families when they come to base. And we've been able to get into those classes and see what their opportunities that airmen and women have as well as their families. On base.
Is that held on base or is that held at base?
It is on base. Also, Erica's working with our beta group to do credit for prior learning. We're working with the Kansas Board of Regents through the Lumina grant. So we've been working on articulation agreements with our four-year partners and working on that credit for prior learning. We're also, we've talked a little bit in board meetings about different modalities, the HyFlex. So we've actually implemented HyFlex on base with part of the pilot this semester, and we're looking to expand that.
Can you explain HyFlex? I had a
I'm
note
gonna
here.
let Donnie do that in a minute because he's been leading that team. So I told him I was gonna bring it up and that there would probably be questions. At the Flint Hills location, again, we're utilizing technology to connect classrooms to make things more efficient at those 2 locations, as well as the partner high schools that we serve in those areas. And then in all of our high school departments, we have put together a high school strategy. We're meeting weekly. We're revising our website to create more content for parents and counselors. So we do serve every high school in Butler County in one way or another, whether it be online or sending back to the other.
Is this the ability of the director? Is this part of the director program?
No, that's separate.
We just think it's all done.
We definitely want to increase online enrollment. That's the director will be good opportunity. So, anyway, our high school strategy team is meeting weekly, working on those things to try to strengthen our partnerships, and so things are going well there. And then we also are working with marketing on branding our high school program. High school academic partnerships is something that is easy to say or put out there. So we've actually named our concurrent enrollment H+. So you're going to start seeing that. We're working with marketing and branding and work on that. So we're excited about that to create some brand awareness around high school. The Early College Academy is really prominent. People recognize that logo. So we want to do something for the other high school opportunities. And with that, I want to pass that to John.
So let me run through quick academy stuff and then I'll come to your question about Netflix. So I'm Donnie Featherston, the associate dean here at College Academy, and it's been a really exciting year. With COVID, we've got some new pathways that we've started to implement. Two brand new ones that we started to implement over this last year. The construction pathway with Rhodesill. That area should be completed, and we should start being able to use that as a Rhodesill for our next cohort, as well as an agriculture pathway. As well as we have done we've done the health sciences pathway throughout. Rhodesill has been very successful, but because of some geographic limitations, so we've got some of our schools way. We've started that here at El Dorado as well. We have a solid group incoming.
What's gonna bother me now? Of about 8, 9 students. I say that because one is a bit on the fence about how they're gonna do it. We're gonna work with them. But we had a great group come in with that. We've also taken our humanities pathway, which is a kind of, it's named humanities, but it's an elective heavy. It's a little bit more flexible for students. We have decided to try to run that entirely online. And so we've done that this year and had 2 students from the area. One is a high school student who he actually thrived in the online world during COVID and from Circle and wanted to just continue doing that. So we said, sure, let's try this out. There was some other issues that made her a good fit for it. And another was a homeschool student. So we're excited. We want to see that grow. We think the online availability is for high school students, especially in response to COVID. We maintained. We've got 114 new incoming students this year. Even not being able to get to the high schools this year was tough. A lot of virtual stuff. Really trying to get in front of parents in creative ways. We saw a good incoming group of 114. We graduated 97 last year, but what we were really excited beyond the number was the 2.5 million in scholarships that group has been offered. That's one of the highlights of this program. Our students, because they have so many credits and they do so well, tend to do really well on the scholarship program, going in 4 year or wherever they may go. Some go into other technical programs and stuff like that. It's not all 4 year, but a good scholarship offering this year. So we were really excited to see that. So yeah, that's kind of the year for us. Continue growing some of the new ones, explore some more online opportunities. So we want to do that to help students with that flexibility. So I'll come to your question, but I want to make sure there's no other
Very good.
questions. Okay.
We're looking at you. No, it's just-
You have a question? Did you have a question about this? No, I was gonna go to Shelby's question, but I wanted to about HyFlex, but I wanted to make sure. Okay, you're gonna let me off easy? Okay.
Yeah, one question before that. Were all 97 students, did they all get scholarships or a big majority?
No, sir, I'm sorry, that wasn't clear. We graduated 97, not all of them got scholarships. I don't know the percentage.
Because it's just averaging it up. If they all got scholarships, it's almost $26,000 each. That's significant.
That's significant. We had some that got very sizable scholarships to very large schools that
would offset.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have some really neat stories that are coming out, and we're gonna track that a little bit better. The specific schools we're going to and those scholarships. The way we track it now is just kind of we get feedback from them on what they're being offered, but we want to find out some of the specifics on that ourselves, where they're going, have scholarships.
Flex.
Flex, yes,
Just a
sir.
quick definition, elevator
no.
pitch.
It's so I'm going to give you a definition, but I also want to counter it with something else. I'm going to kind of put two definitions up there. HyFlex is it's a face-to-face class, normal face-to-face class that has this added technological component that we use in Poly Studios that we work with IS to get these in the classroom. These studios allow it's both an easy and robust process. It's easy in that it's basically a plug-and-play system. So it's really technologically friendly, but it's a camera that is voice following. So as I move about the room, I teach some, I move, you probably guess that. So it'll follow me when I move around the room. It also is attached to a 50-inch screen, so that when which isn't that much smaller than that, smaller but relatively. So when the student in Zoom land talks, it is as though they are in the class with you. They can interact with other students in the class and that. So we're letting instructors pilot that right now as they want to. Obviously, it's not going to work for every class. We've got a lot of interesting classes trying it out, from Russian to physics to various lecture courses. And that. So we're doing that. We're also offering though online live. It's an online. That's a face-to-face with this online component. Say I can't come to class. I don't have to miss class. I can still be a part of the lecture. We're also doing an online live, and I just want to say it because this gets confused sometimes. An online live is where we have a set time for a class to meet entirely in a virtual. So it's not a face-to-face, it's an online class. But there's a set designated time where they might need to have a lecture interactive.
An additional class, not the set class with the camera, but it's not. We could have students attend that class also virtually with the camera tracking you.
You could, and we have some people that are exploring things like this, and I want to be very careful I say because I don't want this to be confused. Somebody be in trouble for something they're not doing. They have a face-to-face class that is a HighFlex class. They have a separate online class that it's just online, but they have invited those online students to participate in the face-to-face class via the HighFlex should they want to, as an added thing. So they're able to explore some stuff like that, and those students are able to interact outside, if it's a particularly difficult subject or something like that, they can zoom in for that week on the HighFlex and be part of that face-to-face class if they want to. So there's faculty being really creative with it, trying to find interesting ways to use it. And we are learning. I mean, I have a sort of vision of what I want it to be, but faculty are way better at it, making that happen and finding interesting ways. Start. We're just piloting it. The goal is to have 25% of our classrooms capable.
We actually have had some classes added in the online live modality for spring, so we want to try to do that. Online live, we've been doing that with students already. It's online, you log in, Zoom. Yeah, so it's the same thing, but now there's some other classes that we can have, some popular gen eds that allow a student that may not like the online environment, totally online, they still have that face-to-face interaction.
I have one.
No, you
Sorry,
may-
sorry.
No, you're
Yeah,
done.
Tom whispered it. And this is really important. This would also, I'll be quiet, I know I'm going too long. This will allow us also to link classrooms together. So say we have a class that's not well enrolled on campus or something like that. Rather than having to cancel that class, we could link it with another class on our main campuses. We can do some different stuff like that with, we're already kind of thinking about that with like agriculture stuff, the academy, my side, right? We have a small ag group, how can we link it with a class that's going on here in El Dorado and make that work?
So we'll also eventually add international students or anybody who wants to join your class without adding additional costs, but you have additional revenue.
Exactly.
As
Well, I
long as they
know,
don't monopolize the camera.
Right.
But
It's what
Yeah,
we're
it'd be
already
good.
doing in the Flint Hills, and we're doing it at McConnell. We want to do more at McConnell where we're connected. It helps. It helps other classes make that even more.
I like this stuff, so if you ever want to ask more. We can talk about it for a long time, so.
Any other questions for Donnie or Heather? If not, we will move on to the first board action item, which is directional.
I can talk about this. So it's a perfect segue actually in talking about online and trying to create alternative revenue streams. So direct enroll is an opportunity for us to broaden that online footprint. And so what we wanted to do was create a landing page that students could go, okay, I just need to pick up psychology. I can go click the button, fill out my information like I'm buying something online, enter my payment information. So we've worked really closely with Jessica and her team in enrollment management to create that process. So we've got the process ironed out. We looked at what it would cost. Right now, we would like to, if we can, launch it for spring, to partner it with a section that already exists. So these would all be 8-week, those tend to be popular classes. So to link it with a class that already exists that had low enrollment in the past, and help that classmate, but also bring additional revenue. So that's our startup, what we would like to do. But where it gets complicated is that we have to create just a flat rate of payment rather than telling it, well, it's this for credit hour plus this fee plus this. Oh, by the way, buy your textbook. We want to make it seamless. So we've got the enrollment process ironed out. So what we would like to do is charge a single rate, which we've calculated it up. Even if we staffed it with an adjunct, this is as a standalone course, not adding it.
Any credit hours or something?
If it's a 3 credit hour class, we would need 3 students at $735 per course for 3 credit hours. So break even on that as a standalone. So for the spring, if we were able to launch this, it would be just additional revenue because we're paying them to start with. So we're looking at courses that only have OER or virtual ebooks, so that, again, that student purchases the course, they log into Canvas, everything they need to do the course. is embedded right there for them. So we've got like 15 on the list to start. We just got a whole nother list from the bookstore of every class that offers an ebook. Is an opportunity to start out. You have to do courses that don't require any placement testing or prerequisites or anything like that, just to get it launched. But that's kind of the gist of it.
How are you going to, you going to do that? Have you got any other colleges that you can emulate their model or? I mean, I hate to see it that real. That or.
Well, the way that we developed that, came to that amount, I guess I should say, was we looked at what our out-of-state tuition rate is per credit hour. So that's how we got to the 735. That would include the technology charge, and then the registration fee, and then whatever the cost of the test would be. So I'm not sure I'm understanding your question.
There are other institutions. We'd be the only Kansas institution that uses like this, but there are other partnering institutions around that have models like this that your team look at it and work by, right?
Yeah, but we didn't really see that there was a wheel to be created. We already offer the class online. All we're doing is trying to broaden our footprint by marketing it beyond.
It's convenient if, it's this much for this class.
Yeah,
but
that's a
on.
flat rate.
Now, and then there's this wouldn't be available for a student that is independent late. So, you have to swipe your card, enter your card information. So, actually, the original group, we called it cash for courses. Just trying to think.
I like that.
Find
Something
something
off of Amazon.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so we didn't, there are other institutions that are doing it. Online enrollment has exploded all over the place. You can take any class online anywhere right now through various institutions. So this was looking at our out-of-state rate, that was kind of our baseline, and then we looked to be able to make up the revenue that we need.
So that would adjust each year based on the.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. See where it launches and see what people look like.
Low enrollment class, we can have a fire sale fall for Russian or whatever. And
Yeah.
Any other questions for Heather? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I would move it through that.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the initial launch of the direct role. Any other questions? or discussion?
Here's one more question. What does this do to the advisors? Does this make them still have to approve?
It's not. So we've worked with Guest Grade team these students will all be coded as guest students. And so they're coming in, they're going to that landing page and they know what class they need to take. So they don't need to talk to them.
Okay, great.
So this basically, that's why we called it direct enrollment. I click, I enter my information, and we do all the work on the back end to process their application. And get the results.
Great.
Thank
So
you.
if we have a seat to.
Any other questions? We'll call the roll.
Trustee Good,
Yes.
Trustee Law,
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
TrusteeLeckenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Winslow, Trustee Howell, Trustee Smith.
Yes.
The motion passes. We'll move on to the BKD program analysis software.
Yes, we are recommending at this time that you approve the purchase of the BKD program economic analysis software tool. I think we've discussed this really extensively with you during the budgeting process. It does allow us, we do a contribution at margin analysis now. It's very manual, and we think this is going to be a lot more sophisticated. BKD, which is our auditing firm, has a lot of experience in implementing this in other colleges, and it will give us the opportunity possibly to do benchmarking with other colleges. Mostly just a trend analysis internally to allow the academic divisions and departments to take a more granular look at the costs and the revenue generated not only by departments, but down to the course level or the faculty level. So I'd be happy to entertain questions.
My only question is, as we were presented, it says, you guys are looking at the overhead costs, indirect overhead costs, and it has analysis by location, but you don't think it's practical to implement this function at this time.
The things we need to look at, we want to get this up and running as soon as we can. And I know it's consternation that we've kind of been dragging our feet, but we did want to go through a vetting process. So I felt it was important for us to involve other departments like accounts receivable, payroll. They have that. As far as the overhead, we're still looking at that. We can go ahead and move the contract now and get on the schedule of BKD and still see some vetting. There's a couple of levels of overhead that we can look at. First level is academic administration. So you could look at the costs of academic administration and allocate that to the academic courses. That's a little more direct cost and probably would make more sense. You can go beyond that to overhead at an institutional level. The question you have to ask is, does that really enhance our ability to make effective decisions at the course level by showing what the overhead of the institution is on top of that? So that's something that we're still assessing at this time. As far as the location goes, we do have location codes. They were put into our account structure back in 2000 when we implemented Banner. There's a lot of questions about the accuracy of some of those location codes. It's a major time commitment on somebody's part to ensure that accuracy. So again, it's a cost benefit type of analysis that we need to do to determine if that would really be beneficial. I believe we could also implement it without the location code now to get it going. And at some point in the future, if we're more confident on the accuracy of the location codes, we might be able to implement it at that time.
I called BKD and I just had them, I was gonna pass this out. I was curious because it wasn't listed and I didn't know if it was from cost or what. And I spoke with Michael Gerber and David Armstrong. And the overhead analysis, it said overhead allocation allows a deeper dive into indirect cost allocation, which can be done by program types, location, and other allocation methods. And I was curious from them, like, how much more does this cost? The additional cost is $5,400. And they also do it in athletics, same type of thing. It says, we have an athletic analysis that allows the institution to view the cost per sport, cost per athlete, trend analysis, layer the cost to educate each student athlete. And they said it breaks down really well. You can see everything. It does room and board, ticket sales, fundraising, a lot of data that we could get. And it was an additional $5,400. So when we move to approve this, I would like to just go ahead and do those other two things to get more data while we're at it.
Maybe you get up close to the microphone again, please.
I talked to Michael Gerber this afternoon, after these sessions. that was one of their recommendations. to us. So,
When I spoke to Michael, he made it sound like it's a very easy overlay that you can just click and have it disappear or search through it. It's not cumbersome. I understand. It's just, I've been asking for this stuff for almost 2 years and it's an additional $11,000 and Bill asks for that every 15 seconds for software. Well,
Yeah.
we paid $80,000 for our Grizzly bot, and this would give us actual.
This is a little bit different, but is there a reason you decided to go around and ask for this?
Because we've asked for this since April. We tried to have them show up and it was said again here that it's not practical to implement this at this time. I'm like, well, is that a financial thing? Because I would really like, I've asked since almost 2 years ago, what do we make in basketball across country? It would be nice to know, and more data, I don't think would hurt us to have more granular data. And
We
it's
did ask for a
it's such an
demo.
inexpensive price. I don't know why we wouldn't want more data. Do you like less data?
I mean, I'll
Tom?
Gonna speak for,
I'm gonna put you on the spot, right?
We also asked for
I did not. Okay. I don't remember if it was David or Michael. They said they had a meeting in April. This was all discussed. We haven't had a lot of contact since then.
that's not accurate. Several areas. Highest integrity. So, to answer your question about the timing. Our office has. I will take that.
I'm not trying to cast blame.
Place.
I think we made our recommendation, we stand by it.
My only concern is like when I first started here, Bill Young was act on fact, act on fact, act on fact, act on fact. It's a big deal. I'm not blame. And then, I asked for Council Grove and it turned out different when there was that actual audit, which I understand it's different. It's much more detailed. But I think if we proceed in a manner that gets us more data sooner, we'll all know where we're at. I'm not trying to say the boogeyman or gotcha or anything. I just, more data on everything sounds really good. That's something
You are
I've been,
playing gotcha a little bit by handing this out in front of Kim.
we just got it today. It was like 3:30.
Don't say I'm not playing gotcha when you're doing this to them in the middle of the meeting, handing it out.
We approved a
We're talking about
$250,000
this.
lease last month
We're
with
talking
no
about
data.
this.
And then,
Don't say I'm not trying to play gotcha because you are.
let's let me get this data. and
Does
I got
anybody
it
else have
3:30
any
this afternoon.
discussion over this?
You're second guessing what. all
yeah, I
these
have a
people
lot
do.
of questions on
talking
this
to
question.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, you said, do we have more?
You're second guessing what they're doing. They've all sat down, they know what they're doing, they want to make sure when the program launches, everything is, like you say, the integrity is as good as it can be. So it's going to kick out data, all of us to examine, and we've got good data. They looked at it, they said, to do it right, it's going to take this period of time. They're experts in this area. I'm not, I don't think anybody else in this room is. But you're going and talking to the people who have the program and asking for their recommendation, sort of in an abstract and not really applying what you need to know about it. So, yeah, it is a gotcha. Let me show you what I got. This is what you're telling me.
What I
You
got
should leave
is,
it up to them,
no, we're in charge of running the institution and
not to
we're,
micromanage it, which is
well,
what you're trying to do.
we're asking for software to know what our true data is. I'm being told one thing. I'd like a second opinion. We're hiring these people. I don't think it's out of line for me to call that. I don't think so. I mean,
Well, you guys
when
are
I got-
agree
when I got
on the
Mc-
same thing anyway.
when I got,
Not always.
Speak the same thing, same
when I
language.
Any
asked
other
for
questions
McConnell, when I asked for
for Jim
McConnell
or-
for 6 months and finally got it, the numbers I was given in a 3-line item were not the
The issue
eventual
is not
numbers I got.
McConnell talking.
The
Any
issue
other
is
questions for
everything.
Kim or Kent regarding this,
Yeah,
specific to this?
okay,
Go ahead.
we had this discussion several months ago, and we agreed to pass for this summer. Now, if I can restate this, you're telling us it's gonna be 3 years
You
before
know,
we
they,
get this data?
it's a 3-year contract.
Oh, what it says there at all. It says that it will be
Excuse
available.
me. Don't be disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
I'm sick of it. It's written.
Kent, go ahead and answer the question for.
We,
That is what you said, right?
no, you can read it in here. When they come in and implement, go through the implementation process, they will look at the past 3 years, okay? And then that's from the year that just ended in July, 21, 20, and 19. They will give us data for 3 years. The implementation time is about 12 weeks. And we work with the other departments to pick out a time that would be the most advantageous. That's February, March. With that time frame, we think that the information will be ready in May or June this year for the past 3 years.
Not the financial data that necessarily Shelby's talking about. So if we add that data, let's say. I'd really like to see it, not, you know.
Yeah,
it's
we-
third year.
We do it once a year. It's an annual process. So,
So another year.
yes, I think this is the most practical implementation timeframe with the resources, the human resources that we have available in accounting, payroll, accounts receivable, IT, and academics. We're all gonna have to be involved in this. I think this is the most practical implementation timeline.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That information will be available right to you. Okay, please. Second year, looking at FY 22, we want to try to get that to so that next fiscal year, we want to try to I hope this will be good. That makes sense. Good.
It's still missing the overhead.
Depends on how the conversation goes in the spring. And that's not exactly something that we have those topics. Add them to this. That, depending on how that. We may be able to add it. And what the resources. So we just have a lot.
Maybe as an overview, I I would just like to see how each campus is doing. Just like I would like to see how each program is doing. And I don't think that's too much to ask. I just want to see that realistically. I don't know how else to explain it. How would you explain it? How would you explain it? If you were a trustee, how would you ask for that from the college? I want to see an overview of how each of our programs is doing financially. That's what I'd like to see. And I would like to see how each of the sites are doing financially. If they're 5% of our gross, that's what I want to know. If they're 1% of our gross, that's what I want to know. That's just a business perspective. I'm sorry that the academics here don't understand that, but that's how I see things. And it's a good thing that there are so many perspectives on this board. There's the attorney perspective, there's the business perspective, there's the academic perspective. We need all of those perspectives. But just because I want the business perspective doesn't mean that I'm to be degraded. This is how I have to see things.
Like, so I know that we approved the purchase of the software as recommended by the second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the software recommendation by the administration. Is there any other questions or discussion?
I would make a secondary motion to add these two items to it. And just vote yes or no, and let's drive on.
We can do a secondary motion.
Further discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Good?
Yes.
Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow? Trustee Howell? Trustee Smith?
Yes, I do want this on. Will you allow me to additionally add this on to the?
We
Since it
will
wasn't
move on
complete,
to
I don't-
the correction and the approval of the minutes.
Yeah, on the minutes. Let me get to that page. It states, second paragraph down, third line, page 39, sorry. It says, the terms were described, triple net lease with rental payments up to 28,000, blah, 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 per month for 10 years, per year. So it's just, it says, and in the rest of that sentence says, an option to purchase after the initial term. On page 48, it says, it's not really worded that way. It says, we have the option to purchase beginning on the commencement date, which is number 22 on page 48. And if you jump back to page 41, B, it says, or sorry, page 41, number 2 at the very bottom, commencement date means delivery date. And if you go up to 1B, August 21st, 22 is delivery date. So we have the option to purchase after, it should say beginning on commencement date. That's all I'm trying to say.
So are you suggesting there should be a change in the contract, or are you?
No,
No,
it's
Minutes.
miswritten here,
Minutes to reflect.
what the contract says,
We
accurately.
can make
The
that.
minutes is on page 39.
Right,
Oh, okay.
right. But I did find one thing, and then going through it all last month, I skipped over it, I had it highlighted. On page 48, number 23, it says there's an agreement between the landlord and Redler dated April 7th, 2004. I don't think that date.
You know, the trust is dated 2000.
Is that an agreement between him?
Scott Redler Trust dated April 7th, 2004. That's the
Okay,
date of
so
the
that
trust.
doesn't have to do with the agreement. Okay, that was it.
I would entertain a motion to make those corrections. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Good?
Yes.
Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Howell? Trustee Smith?
Yes.
The motion is approved. Last meeting correction passes. I would entertain a motion to accept the retirement of Lynn Humphries.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Absolutely not. We will not accept.
Yes.
Does anybody want to speak at all on behalf of
Ireland.
What do you guys?
I'd like to just thank him for his service to us. He's one of those guys kind of count on every day without even noticing it's there almost. You know, whenever there's an issue, he's the guy that says, yes, we'll do everything that we can to do that. I think his presence at the college really came to the forefront with the pandemic and our response to the pandemic. And he was just one of those guys who was counted on. Harold, would you like to say, let me say one other thing. As much as I hate to see Lynn go, I feel very fortunate that we have somebody who's going to be able to step into that role in our church. So, Harold, would you like to say anything about Lynn?
Yeah, would.
Lynn is a
Find the mic close, Harold. Good.
Yeah, I would also like to thank him. He's a great mentor. He's been there anytime we had any taking care of it. Missy, he actually came up with college 10 years ago. So, well,
I want to add one more little thing to, hopefully to add on to what they've said. Coming from a different institution, where I was for 8 years, and coming to Butler was such a different perspective. It came from the leadership and facilities between Lynn and I. Well, I guess Robin was not here for maybe more than a year after I got here, and Lynn took over. But I've never ever experienced working with people like this, that when you go to them and you ask them to help you with something, or can you help us with this project, I've never heard them say no. Never know. They may say, well, this is great, or something like that, but it's always a very positive response, and always let's figure out how to make it happen. And that happens because of the leadership. I don't think so.
Did it get seconded?
You did it.
Okay.
I don't hear who motion second. Kurt does, but I didn't know. Okay, trustee Good? Yes. Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow? Yes. Trustee Howell? Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded to approve the remainder of the consent agenda. Let's call the roll.
Trustee Good? Yes. Trustee Law?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Lechtenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Howell?
yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
The motion to approve the consent agenda passes.
Sure, on page 66, the key performance indicators. Esam noted that there will be an update next week to this. This is still there. Oh, did I say next week? Sorry, next month. Yeah, tomorrow. Next month there will be an update, and so watch for that. The statement of revenues and expenditures you can look at, the thank you notes. I do want to, call your attention to the activity calendar. We have board work session scheduled for the 22nd. Please, I'll have Heather send out additional information to you on the volleyball games in Hutch, so that you can hopefully participate in those. Also, if you'll take a look, there are still at the end of this season, or if you want to go to Garden City or Florida, I guess you could do that with football and soccer as well. But please take a look at the activity calendar. I would really, really encourage you to engage in the opportunities in fine arts. We have a great art exhibit on campus that started yesterday. We have coming up the theater production on November 18th and 19th, JAMA game. We have Show Choir Festival concert on the 22nd. And then we have the dance showcase and some instrumental concerts 29th and 30th of November, and vocal music concert on the 4th. These are tremendous opportunities to see the talent of our students. And I know schedules get busy this time of year, but I'll ask Heather to send out reminders, and we can secure tickets for you. I'm going to encourage our new incoming board members to maybe join us for some of these, but don't miss those opportunities. Nurses pinning is scheduled for December 9th at 7 PM. We'll get additional details to you about that as well. And then, my, holiday reception, that is sponsored by the foundation. You all will receive invitations. I don't think they've been sent out quite yet. December 6th, 6 PM. in this-
Thank you very much.
Yes.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adjourn, please.
Second. Second for your.
Trustee Good. Yes. Trustee Law.
Yeah.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Lundberg.
Yes.
Trustee
Sure I
Winslow.
am.
And Winslow.
Hey.
Yes.
Trustee Howell.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Stand adjourned.
You know, that's just the way you are.
Well,
I'm